Is this thing on? Welcome back to Big Mouth and fancy seeing you here in June. I very welcome my friends and especially my enemies. Come in, sit down, no touching. I don't do the touching. Are you feeling charitable? Then please smash the subscribe button. At least one person, please. And the like button. And please do follow me on Twitter at Movies TV Man. It's a brand new week. Welcome to Monday's edition of the DC Multiverse Daily. On today's show, I will be addressing the fact that I believe in Chris Wong Svensson's theory that Zack was originally going to kill off Lois Lane. But not only that, he has another theory that I really like, that the child that Lois has is actually Bruce Wayne's and not Clark. So we'll talk about that. And it's very Chris Wong Svensson centric today, today's DC Multiverse Daily, as he makes a very emotional post on Twitter. And I want to analyze it and I want to talk about it. And I want to say it's a wake-up call for all of us. But let's talk about Chris's theory about Lois Lane and the child she has, because I think it's a very interesting theory. Not only do I agree with Chris, not only do I believe that Chris is correct on this, I believe this is one of the main reasons Zack's been given 70 million to go back. One of the things he's going to additionally shoot, I believe, is Lois Lane's death in the Batcave. And by the way, what was she doing in the Batcave? Exactly. And basically, at the hands of Darkseid, she gets killed. And the other theory, of course, is that her child is not Clark's, but Bruce Wayne's. So I believe this is the scary idea. Also, the scary idea was the parademons coming out of cocoons. I don't see what's scary about that. But anyway, bring it on. Basically, Zack Snyder has been given 70 to 100 million to fulfill his scary idea, to give us the vision he originally had. You know, thank you to Warner Media. Thank you for AT&T. You know, the man has the right to show us what he originally had planned. So before you haters start hating on Zack, please stream it on HBO Max, Zack Snyder's Justice League miniseries, because it's going to be, I mean, this is going to break the internet. So Chris's theory is that Lois Lane was going to get killed. I think Zack's kind of told us that. And there was always this theory that Clark and Lois were going to have this child. And in honor of Bruce, who sacrifices himself to win the battle against Steppenwolf, in his honor, they name the child Bruce. Now, we always thought that was that, but Chris goes beyond that, and I think he did a podcast about this. Now, I didn't watch his podcast or listen to it, but he does do a live hot dog show. Basically, he does this whole hot dog stream now. The hot dog thing is when he lost his shit over the haters, right? Really, really funny. But anyway, right? So the whole thing is here that Chris has this theory that not only does Darkseid kill Lois, but Lois and Bruce became lovers, and Lois gives birth to Bruce Wayne's child. Now, how and when does this actually take place? I find so interesting. So basically, what the nightmare sequence we saw the first part of in Batman vs. Superman Dawn of Justice is something that we're going to see continued in certain amounts in Zack Snyder's Justice League. One of the exciting things I'm looking forward to. What I like about the nightmare sequence is it's a war story. That's what it is. It's a war story. Darkseid has taken over the planet Earth, and there's a rebellion. And, you know, Batman's part of this rebellion. But at this point, you know, Superman is in control from the anti-life equation that Darkseid has put upon him, right? So he's not acting with a full deck of cards. And, you know, Chris's theory goes on. You know, we look back at that nightmare sequence when actually Superman kills Bruce Wayne. Let's not forget that. So we've got two elements here where Bruce Wayne is killed by Superman, but there's this other thing that Zack pretty much told us, that Bruce Wayne sacrifices himself, right? For the League and for the world, right? So Does he die twice? That's something I don't understand, really. So let's look at this, right? Superman goes up to Bruce Wayne when he captures him, right? And he says, "You took everything from me." Something like that. Excuse me if I haven't got the quote right. She was my world. So what could have Bruce done to cause Lois's death? Now, originally, I assumed that he got her involved in this war, in this rebellion, and that's why Superman blames him. But it could be that they entered in a relationship while Superman was under the anti-life equation, right? And they had a child together. So I really like Chris's theory, and I agree with that theory. And I think this is something that's going to happen in the Zack Snyder's Justice League miniseries. And I think this is going to fucking break the internet. If he kills Lois Lane, and prior to that, if he has Bruce Wayne and Lois Lane being lovers and, her giving birth to his child, this will test the hardcore DC element that are not Snyder fans. And ultimately, this may even test the patience that love Zack and love his DCEU movies as well. And what do I think of that? I think it's a brilliant idea. I've said before, I love the Reeve movies. I can watch them whenever I want. I love the comics. I can read them whenever I want. But this is something different. And as I'll reiterate what I've already said. The nightmare sequence, or sequences, shall we say, which we're going to get more of in Zack Snyder's Justice League, are a war story. And it's a bit like the Pearl Harbor thing when they think that, I've never seen that film, but I know one of the characters, I don't know if it's Josh Hartnett's or Ben Affleck's character, has an affair with the woman because they think the other guy died in action. It's the same thing here. And so they're not doing anything wrong. They're thrown together and they have a child together. Now, if Lois Lane and Bruce Wayne are going to die and this actually sticks and they're not brought back to life somehow, right? And again, I'm not sure when this, it seems like all this happens within the nightmare sequence, even Lois getting murdered by Darkseid. It seems to me it will be in that future, which we're going to see. Now, don't forget, this is one possible future. Don't forget that. This is a future that might not happen. And this is the thing here. And I think that can be confusing until we see the movie. So this is a possible future. This is not the future. In the nightmare sequence where Superman kills Batman, Darkseid kills Lois Lane, and before that, Lois Lane has Bruce's child. Now, that's Chris's theory. I agree with that theory. But don't forget, this is only a possible future. Now, as I was about to say, and I kind of confused myself, this would mean eventually when Superman is over the anti-life equation and over Darkseid's control, he would actually maybe have to bring up this child. So this is an interesting possible future. And actually, you could create an Elseworld exclusive HBO Max straight-to-streaming series based on this future. And this is what Zack was talking about months and months ago, going down the rabbit hole and, being prepared for the rabbit hole to be deeper and deeper and deeper. So I love Chris's theory. I think this is what Snyder's and Terrio's original plan was. I like this. I hope they do it. And what's great about it, as I say, it's just a possible future. It's probably not going to stick because the Justice League eventually will stop Darkseid before this nightmare sequence happens. This is a possible future that maybe Barry Allen has gone to this possible future. And this is how Bruce Wayne saw it in BVS. So just remember that. Just keep that in mind before you lose your shit or how your expectancy of Zack Snyder's Justice League will be. Just a possible future that probably won't happen. But it'd be very, very interesting and exciting, right, to see this play out. Now, this is something that may not totally play out in season 1 of Zack Snyder's Justice League. This could be a second season. Now, as Mr. is it Faruqi, or the Faruqi brothers, right? Sorry if I pronounced the name wrong. Said you don't give someone $70 to $100 million if you haven't got faith in them and you don't want to do more. There's going to be more of Zack Snyder's Justice League universe, but it could be more that he may end up doing after, series 1, this kind of Elseworld kind of, nightmare sequence series, which would be even more fun. But of course, the original plan was for them to maybe go to Apocalypse, or maybe the world to become Apocalypse in Justice League 2. I don't know, but we know how the first series is going to finish, and that's by Diana chopping off Steppenwolf's head, and then the boom tube's there, and Darkseid comes through it, and the head rolls, and then Darkseid's got his foot on it. That would be a compelling ending. I hope we don't get a definitive ending, and is Zack's original plan to that ending. Really, really excited about this. I love Chris's theory. I hope it comes to pass. And I want your comments down below about your opinions about all of this. Because for me, this has really energized me. And if I wasn't excited already, I'm even more excited for Zack Snyder's Justice League. I want to be absolutely clear here. If it wasn't for people like Chris Wong-Svensson, Mark Goldbridge from the United Stand, and even people who, let's just say my opinions changed of him, Jeremy from Geeks and Gamers, I would never have started a channel. I just saw these ordinary guys start these channels and they become successful, and I thought, well, if they can do it, why can't I? Not in terms of becoming really successful, but sitting here and, speaking my truth on a video. And, the dream of having 30 to 50 to 100 people sometimes watching the channel and, reacting to those truths. And I think it's a beautiful thing. So, look, quite a few weeks ago, I had an argument with Dave E. Pina over this whole Zack Snyder doing like an animated DCEU universe, and some of them saying at this time they're probably going to go for the animation rather than live action because it's easier to do, within the pandemic. And I said, listen, I'd love Zack to do animated DCEU and Snyderverse stuff, but I don't want it to be instead of the live action. And I was having a heated Twitter debate with Davey about that. He became nasty. He went and looked at all my videos and started slaughtering them. Then he blocked me. And then Stephen Colbert blocked me as well. Now, that saddens me because I like those two guys. I really do. We can all be problematic, but at the end of the day, we should respect each other's opinions. I don't want to be blocked by those guys. I'm not happy that I'm blocked by those guys. But at the end of the day, there's nothing I can do about, people not liking me or not liking what I say, right? I'm a very harmless person. I wouldn't even hurt a fly. But I'm afraid people's perceptions of you via words on the internet can be misconstrued. And I understand that because I've come from that point of view as well. I was a bit worried when that happened because I have a great respect for Chris Wong-Svensson. As I say, he's one of the people who inspired me to start my own channel. And I was thinking he's probably going to block me as well. But as I say, I think Chris is a great guy and he's done so well with his channel. And I noticed he did a really big Twitter post basically talking about his future on his channel and on Twitter. And I want to read it all out to you because I think this is a wake-up call for all of us. Aloha! When I started this in 2016, I wanted to find others that truly appreciated the DCEU brand and what Zack Snyder had to offer. I joined the Snyder Cut movement before there were any factions. It was important to me and I truly believed in it. And I wanted to help Zack get his movie out. I never considered myself a leader. I was just one of the many voices that we wanted WB to hear. Now that the cut is coming, thank you to Warner Media for listening. The mission is accomplished. But I will continue to promote any AFCP charities because I feel it's my duty as a fellow associate producer. Basically, Zack's calling us all associate producers now, right? All the people who supported him and got him, the chance for us to see, for him to stream his version of Justice League. I also shifted to loving DC as a whole, the way Jim Lee believes all parts of DC should be accepted. I enjoy the discussion and speculation of what's to come, what's shooting, who's going to be cast, what shows and what movies are being made, etc. There's more to this, which I'm going to read. Now, this bit about Jim Lee and how he feels about how all corners of DC should be respected and embraced, I believe that too. This is why I changed the title of my videos to the DC Multiverse Daily, because I'm so excited by Jim Lee's and Walter Hamada's multiverse strategy. And like Chris is saying, he's going to embrace that on his content and on his videos in future. It's exactly what I've been doing because I love DC. And, I don't have to shift because I've always been an all-round DC fan who loves from Superman to Plastic Man. I love them all. They're all great characters, and I want to see them all on TV and film, and this is why I'm covering all of them. And I'm happy that Chris has come out and said this. I think it's important, but he goes on. From here on out, I think it will be healthier for me that Twitter will be a platform dedicated to gathering info and providing daily DC content, whatever it may be for my viewers, followers. Also, an effort to try to promote positive content for DC, as it is very few and hard to come by. Yes, see, he's making the point. The positivity isn't there. And I think he talked about it's healthier because I think this might be affecting his mental health. I'm not saying it is, but it does sound like this is starting to affect him, and I don't blame him. I'm no longer interested in getting into any factionalism. I will not begin them, I will not respond to any, and I'm certainly not going to end them. I may participate and ride with others from time to time in regards to fun DC discussions or important ones that could affect the industry, but I've always ridden my own horse and will continue to do so. Thank you for your understanding. Mahalo, Chris Wong Svensson, Ping Pong Flick Show. Do you know what? I want to cry. I want to fucking cry. That makes me really emotional. That really does. This is a good guy. This is a fucking good guy. Don't attack this guy, right? Don't attack this guy. This is a fucking good guy. You see what toxicity does, don't you? You see what happens. We're all out of fucking control. We really are. This is a good person who's pretty much saying that he's not going to be on Twitter that much, that it's healthier if he kind of, he wants to embrace the whole of the DC multiverse. He's talking about Jim Lee's idea. And, I feel that too, because it's like, yes, everyone's getting something that's going to make them happy. And what I also believe is, at the moment, the films are not out there. The beginning of this hasn't happened. But next year, once we get Black Adam, James Gunn's The Suicide Squad, Zack Snyder's Justice League on HBO Max, when we get all these films, we're going to have 3 or 4, and if Wonder Woman 84 is postponed till next year, we're going to have 4 DC movies from this multiverse strategy all in the same year. And I think once we see that everyone's going to get something of what they want, it's all going to calm down. Now, Chris is very, very associated with John Aaron Garza, Davey Pinar, and people like Stephen Colbert. These are people, a couple of these people have blocked me, as I say, and don't like me. I don't dislike them. I still have a great deal of respect for them. When I argue with someone, I get over it just like that. Whatever I've said, whatever they've said to me, it's forgotten, it's forgiven, it's over. And I hope they can feel that way one day to me. But it does sound like he's pretty much saying that he's not going to be associated with them as much. And I really like what he said at the end. He says, I may participate and ride with others from time to time in regards to fun DC discussions or important ones that could affect the industry, but I've always ridden my own horse, and I will continue to do so. I think that's very interesting, and I think that's to everyone. It's not just to us, not just to his subscribers. I think he is talking in partly to Stephen Colbert, to Davey Pinar, and to John Aaron Garza. What's happened is, and I think he's thought about this in the past 3 or 4 days where because he was highly involved with that video. Remember after Fandom and Zack went on to Real Anarchy, which I think is John Aaron Garza's channel. And I think there was a reaction to him because of that, because he was part of that. Because you've got to understand, there is a lot of hatred between factions, but there's also a lot of jealousy. Oh, Zack's talking to them. And then you turn nasty. But also there's some people, even though, Chris doesn't feel he's a leader, there's some people within that faction, I believe, who feel they're leaders and maybe don't like being their opinion contested. And I understand that. Nobody likes to be told they're wrong. And I get that. And I think it's become so toxic and so divisive. And I think it's been utterly problematic. And I think Chris has seen this and he's gone, whoa, he was one of the ones who started a channel from this fandom very, very early. He may have even been the first, right? Because I discovered him even before, Justice League. I discovered him just after BVS, and he's always been great, and he's always been positive. And I think sometimes he's been sucked into this whole toxic fandom thing, and I think it's been problematic. And I'm so with Chris on this. I agree with every syllable of what he said. And as I say, I do believe this is a wake-up call for all of us to take a step back and realise what we're doing to each other. And if we don't agree with someone, just, be constructive with what you're saying. If it turns nasty, walk away. Agree to disagree, walk away. That's the best thing. You will never win. Chris says in there he doesn't want to start anything, he doesn't want to get involved in anything, and he certainly doesn't want to finish anything. He's taking the higher ground. I think we should take Chris's example and take the higher ground. And, I'm so happy that he's saying he wants to focus on, he's embracing DC as a whole. So he loves Zack. He loves the DCEU, but he's so excited for Jim Lee's and Walter Hamada's multiverse strategy. And I think we all should be, instead of this slaughtering of James Gunn, slaughtering of what they're doing with Black Adam, people mocking Wonder Woman 84 through TV spots. These are the kind of things that, start trouble and infighting, and there's no point. But I also feel, and I'm going to say this and get a lot of hate for it, I do feel Ray Fisher and what he's doing is not helping the toxicity within our fandom. Now, I suppose I would have assumed everyone would have got together and rised up and backed Ray up. That hasn't happened. This has actually split the fandom even further, because I think it's, in a way, as Chris says, we have gotten what we wanted. We are getting, a beautiful DC universe that's going to have different pockets for different people. That ultimately, I hope, will unite, within time, will unite all DC fans. I really hope so. There'll still be elements who get aggressive, and I understand that some people just don't have the emotional intelligence to back away. But I think mostly once these films start rolling out and Zack does his stuff and James does his stuff and James Wan does his stuff, we can move on from what happened during the Justice League reshoots, right? And say it's just in the past and let it go. Ray will continue, the investigation will continue, whatever will be, will be. But at the end of the day, what went wrong has been fixed. Our man, Zack, has been given 70 to 100 million. It's over. It's done. Ray, I support him. Of course I do. I want him to sign his contract. I want to see him as Cyborg. And I want him to get the justice that he wants. But I absolutely loved what Chris said there. I'm saddened that he won't be on Twitter as much, if that's what he's saying. But I do agree with him. A round of applause to him for taking the higher ground. And it's exactly how I feel. Because I've never been on one side or the other. I love DC. I love Zack Snyder. And I'm so excited for this multiverse strategy. I want to know what you think. Comment down below. Like, share, and subscribe. And I'll be back tomorrow with even more DC Multiverse Daily. See you again soon.